Good morning. Welcome to Shawnee Mission Unitarian Universalist Church. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. We are so happy you've chosen this YouTube channel, this Sabbath, this sanctuary in time. We know that you have so many options on Sunday morning, and that you choose to be here is something that we celebrate. We extend an especially warm welcome to our visitors and anyone who may be watching our service for the first time online. Please complete our Get in Touch online form by clicking the link below in the video description. We now invite everyone to greet each other in any way you possibly can. Elbows if you're here, and if you're joining us online, please say hi in the chat.
It's good to be together. I have just a few announcements this morning. First of all, you'll be happy to know that the nursery is poppin'. There are a lot of kids down in the nursery of all ages. The babies magnetized all of them into the nursery, which is lovely. Second of all, the Jerry Hollenbeek Art Gallery, which was established 1 year ago, is looking for crafters, quilters, soft sculptors, needlepoint enthusiasts, and weavers. It is right on the other side of this wall, and it had its inaugural art show last September 2022, and we're looking for new submissions. Please contact Kevin Hobbs or Tina Colm if you could wave your hands. There they are. If you are interested to be in the show or if you have any questions. Also check your all-church email for more information. Secondly, if you are called to offer your time and wisdom to the Sunday service, if you're interested in being involved in the creation of this space and joining the worship associates, please let me know. Worship associates are congregants who each week help lead the service, offer a themed reflection, and make connections with guest speakers and host them. We meet once a month after the service and then quarterly to have our worship lab where we talk and think about worship. And this year, I think it would be fun if you also have someone who you'd like to see be a worship associate. You could tell me and I'll ask them who you think would be interesting to hear from. Lastly, our service today is about 2 foundational Buddhist practices, meditation and compassion. We will have 2 longer meditations today, one during the regular meditation and spoken word space, and then one immediately following the sermon. These guided meditations will be either 5 or 3 minutes. And during these times, if there's movement or noise around you, just worry about yourself. And now, in the spirit of calming the mind and opening ourselves to the energy of peace and compassion, I will ring the ringing bowl. Our opening words today come from Reverend David Usher, who says, "We come together this morning seeking a reality beyond our narrow selves that binds us in compassion, love, and understanding to other human beings and to the interdependent web of all living things. May our hearts and minds be opened to this hour, to the power and the insight that weaves together the scattered threads of our experience and helps us remember the wholeness of which we are a part. We come together to renew our faith in holiness, the goodness, the beauty of life, to affirm the way of the open mind and the full heart, to rekindle the flame of memory and hope, and to reclaim the vision of an earth more fair, with all her people one. Come, let us worship. Please rise as you're willing and able for hymn number 66, When the Summer Sun is Shining.
As Cleo comes forward to light our chalice, we invite you to join us as we recite our covenant. Let us affirm that love is the doctrine of this church, the quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with one another. Each month, we as a community take time to reflect on a theme. The children do this in their classes, and we do it here in worship and in our small groups. This month, the theme is imagination. There's a piece of piano music by the American composer John Cage, in which the performer walks out on stage, puts the piano lid up fully, just like that, arranges the music on the music stand, sits down, and then does nothing for 4 minutes and 33 seconds, at which point they take a bow. Most people react to this piece as a joke, or the same way many react to abstract art, saying with scorn and disappointment, "My kindergartner could have done that." When my music history teacher performed it for us in high school, one of my classmates said, "I got so bored, I started listening to the air conditioner hum." First of all, as a piano teacher with lots of experience with kindergartners, most of them cannot sit still by a tantalizing piano for that long. Second of all, listening to the air conditioning hum is exactly the point. This piece of music perfectly encapsulates John Cage's belief in music as having power to bring us to the present moment. In 1957, Cage said that music is an affirmation of life, not an attempt to bring order out of chaos, nor to suggest improvements in creation, but simply as a way of waking up to the very life we're living. This piece of music is designed to force the listener to actually listen to the world around them in a new way. Life becomes the music. This takes imagination. To move past the awkwardness of realizing the pianist isn't going to play piano and appreciate the squeak of people moving in their chairs, the hum of the air conditioner, traffic outside, the sound of your own breathing. This takes imagination. To step out of a closed mind and into an open one, in which the tapestry of daily sounds around you are no longer tuned out and become fascinating and rich. This takes imagination. This piece of music is forced meditation, but the experience of listening to it makes it possible that all music can be true meditation. I remember going to a symphony concert once, in which the conductor jumped into the next piece of music before the audience was ready. I don't know if she did it on purpose, but it seemed to me that she was using the sounds of the audience shuffling in their chairs and gradually quieting down as momentum for the piece of music, which quickly built in excitement from the first notes. It was almost as if the sounds of the crowd carried the piece of music on a wave. The ambient noise is part of the music already. Perhaps then, instead of going to a concert and hearing the clearing of throats, the latecomers settling down, and the fidgety child as annoying distractions from the music, it's an interesting perspective to consider that they are reminders of the present moment and how lucky we are to get to listen to this music in this context, in this community, during this breath. In the musical interlude today, I'm going to improvise based on the ambient sounds around me that I hear. I invite you to join me in hearing yourselves and this place as part of the music.
Could I have all the children come forward before we release you to the nursery? Come on over here. You'll see here, you want to sit down? I have some, do you know what these are called? These are called zafus. You want to sit on one? Well, first of all, can you all tell me your names? This is my time that I have with you. So will you remind me of your names? Tell me your name. Yeah? Eden? Mm-hmm. Hi, Evan, Aiden, and Cordelia. It's nice to see you. Okay, so these are called zafus, and do you know what they're for? They're for meditating. Have you guys ever meditated? You have tried? Hey, what are your names? What's your name? Hi, Sam. Hi, baby Ruby. Have a seat. Here, you want to sit on this special, oop, you got your shoes on in a fun way. So these are called, yeah, they're so cute. I love them. They're called Crocs. Cute. Beautiful. So today, who here has meditated? You have. Do you want to show me how you do it? Let's see. Okay. Let's see, legs crossed, check. Hands in lap, nice and tall. Looks good. Yeah? You guys want to try? You want to try to do that? Cross your legs. Let's do it together. Cross your legs like this. Yep, there you go. Put your hands in your lap and then sit up really nice and tall. Oh, you guys are looking really good. Here, I'll put this one right here. You know, you guys look like you're about ready to meditate. Looks like you guys have done this before, you know? You look beautiful. Well, Cordelia, I was wondering if you might help the adults a little bit, or I can help them meditate. You tell me. Do you want to do it or should I? Okay, a little bit of both. Okay, come here. All right. So the adults are sitting in chairs, so they can't really cross their legs. So what's the first thing they should do?
Sit up straight.
Okay. Love it, love it. Sitting up straight. Okay, what's the next thing?
Try to relax your body and not feel tense.
Try to relax your body and not feel tense. What's a good way to do that? Any ideas?
Think of something that makes you happy.
Thinking of something that makes you happy? Yeah. Let's also try to take a deep breath together, and when we breathe it out, we're going to make a silly sound. Ready? I'll do it first. Okay, ready? Let's do it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Do you feel a little bit more relaxed? Yeah, did you all do that? Did you take a deep breath and make a funny sound? Good. All right, how's everybody feeling? Calmer? More peaceful? Okay, one last piece of meditation that I wanted to show you guys. Thank you, Cordelia. Very helpful. Okay, here we have some meditation tools. This is called a ringing bowl. Does anybody want to try it? Okay, come here. All you're going to do is take this stick. Oops. Here you go. Take this stick and just hit it on there, okay? Thank you. You did so great. So this bowl, we hit it and then we listen to it until we can't hear it anymore. Does anybody else want to try it? Okay, here you go. Come on over here. Okay, let's hit it with this side. Yeah. Nope, other. There you go. How did it feel to listen to it all the way to the end? Good. Okay, we have one more. Let's let Baby Ruby or Evan do it because you guys haven't done anything yet. Do you want it? Who wants to try it? Do you want to try? Okay. Baby Ruby, do you want to try? Okay, come here. Come on. Okay. You're going to hold it and then clang them together. Ready? Clang. Here, I'll hold one, you hold the other. Ready? And then we're going to listen to it all the way. Okay, do you feel calmer? I'm going to take that as a resounding yes. We're so calm, we can't even talk. Okay, did you guys know that there are babies in the nursery and that you can go play with them? Yeah, pretty fun. Okay, well, this week, when you feel any type of nervousness or anxiety, or you feel like you're getting too busy, just take a second, sit down, and do that silly breathing. Let's do it one more time. Okay, let's sing the children out. We come to this place to see and be seen, to hear and be heard, to teach and be taught. I invite you to reach your elbow out and nudge the person next to you, reminding them that we are here to be here together. We also come to this place to share our joys and sorrows. If you have a joy or sorrow to share, I now invite you to come forward and briefly share in 2 to 3 sentences a rare joy or a profound sorrow and light a candle.
My dad had surgery for cancer last week, and the pathology labs came back, and he is cancer-free, so I'm very happy.
I light the remaining candles for all the joys and sorrows that remain unspoken in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. I invite you to join me in speaking our words of affirmation. We hear your words. We witness your life in all its heaviness and brilliance, and we carry your joys and sorrows in a shared heart. So we will now have a longer meditation. So I invite you to put your feet flat on the floor. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. We will start simply by becoming aware of our breathing. You can notice the way your breathing flows in and out of your belly. You can notice how your shoulders move. You can notice the air on the tip of your nose. This is our grounding. If you have a thought, you just attach it to a balloon and let it float away and come back to your breathing. See if you can follow your breathing from the very bottom of the breath to the very top. If you have a thought, just attach it to a balloon and come back to the sensation of your breathing. Your breathing should flow gracefully, like a river, like a quiet water snake crossing the water, not like a chain of rugged mountains or the gallop of a horse. Allow it to flow gracefully like a water snake crossing the water. If your mind is wandering, you can think, when I breathe in, I know that I am breathing in. When I breathe out, I know that I am breathing out. Drawing your attention back to the sensation of your breathing, either in your belly, your collarbone, or the tip of your nose. I invite you now to identify in your mind's eye someone who you know is suffering, and keeping them in your mind's eye, repeat after me. May you be free from suffering. May you be free from harm. May you be free. And now turning your compassion inwards towards love and acceptance of yourself. You can put your hand over your heart and please repeat after me. May I be free from suffering. May I be free from harm. May I be free. And then we turn our compassion outwards like a shining golden light onto the people in this room, out into our city, the landmass of North America, around the world, and repeat after me. May we be free from suffering. May we be free from harm. May we be free. May it be so, and amen.
The reading today is Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things.
When you begin to see that your enemy is suffering, that is the beginning of insight. These are words spoken by Thich Nhat Hanh, who was not only a Zen Buddhist teacher, but an anti-war activist, poet, and practitioner himself who taught about how to live peacefully and joyfully in a world of suffering. At the heart of all of his teachings are two things: mindfulness and compassion. He says that if we are able to work towards and maintain these two things, we will have a balanced spiritual life: mindfulness and compassion. If we only have mindfulness and no compassion, we will be like a bird with only one wing. And if we only have compassion but no mindfulness, we'll fly in a circle. He reminds us that working on cultivating mindfulness and compassionate energies will alleviate our own suffering and the suffering of the world. When you begin to see that your enemy is suffering too, that is the beginning of insight. I appreciate this quote so much because it invites us to notice who we have positioned ourselves in opposition to. Let's try on a few examples of enemies. Maybe your enemy is an individual, someone with whom you are directly struggling at work or in your family. And what would it be like to see them as someone who is suffering and to wish them an end to their suffering, to truly want that for them and at the same time be centered in yourself? Wouldn't that be a different way of interacting? Or maybe we conceive of an enemy as your own reality, anxieties, images of the past and future, fears, preoccupations with past traumas, worries about the state of the world. What would it mean to focus on sending that loving kindness out towards what makes you anxious? Sending those warm thoughts to your traumatized self, towards the places in the world that are hurting, or towards the future. Or what if we thought of a collective enemy we have? We could name the multi-billion-dollar companies that profit off of telling us that we need to be better. How would we interact differently towards ourselves if we identified a collective suffering and instead of feeling bad about ourselves, wished that we all had freedom from these forces, knowing too that the people who work in those spaces are also suffering? How can it be that simple as mindfulness and compassion? How can it be that we can make changes in ourselves and our world that simply? Well, oftentimes Buddhism is misperceived to be a very self-involved and passive religion, one that each person does by themselves. But what I like about Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings is that he uses his Buddhist practice as a form of activism and engagement. After all, the context in which he started teaching, he described as a sea of fire, a sea of flames. It was the Vietnam War. As the war was escalating terribly, in 1966 in his homeland, Han was exiled from Vietnam for protesting the war and refusing to take a side. He then came on a tour of the U.S., where he spoke on his views and gave interviews and did teachings in which he simply stated that the answer to the problem of war was a ceasefire. In this very moment, he said, "It's very simple," he said. "It's my conviction," he said, "that there is no way to peace. Peace is the way." In response to his teachings, he received the message that it was in fact not that simple. It was so much more complicated than a ceasefire. There were years and years of negotiations that had to occur. There were situations. But his teaching was a very Zen teaching. If you ask how to be peaceful, the answer is be peaceful. Once, one of Thich Nhat Hanh's students asked him, "But how do you stay peaceful in the present moment when the present is unbearable, when you are suffering deeply?" And he responded that he knows that all of us are persecuted by these images of the past, unpleasant memories, images of the future, fears and anxieties that do make our present experience of being alive unbearable. And that we can get caught in the idea that peace feels too complicated to pursue. We have that long list of things that we need to do before we love ourselves or find the peace. Years and years of negotiations with ourselves, our bodies, our families, our earth, that we will find peace after all of these other things fall into line. But if we are able to be mindful and compassionate and use the breath as a grounding practice, Thich Nhat Hanh tells us that we will find refreshing and healing moments here in the present. He says that when we generate the energy of mindfulness, we are able to embrace the pain we feel mindfully, and that in a few moments you can calm it down. That we must come to ourselves tenderly and lovingly and face what is hurting us so badly. Be compassionate towards ourselves and look to the present moment as a source of so much lightness and joy and depth that we've been missing. I never forget that the context in which Thich Nhat Hanh was teaching this was war. These teachings are meant to cut through profound loss and fear and bring us into awareness of our capacity of our hearts as a source of love and our breathing as a source of mindfulness. He tells us that if you have enough compassion, you will be protected. You will not be overwhelmed by the collective energy of suffering. Like a padding around us when we are compassionate, we are in that place of health and happiness, seeking and finding beauty around us anytime we look for it. This is how relief workers and nurses go into places of great and terrible suffering and survive and maintain a sense of calm, because their energy of tenderness and love and care centers them through what would otherwise cause them to suffer greatly. And that means having love for ourselves as well. Han says that to love first of all, is to accept ourselves as we actually are. And that comes from within. To have compassion for ourselves, like true tenderness and sweetness with the suffering that we feel, would be a great relief, a great starting point. Not telling ourselves that it's nothing compared to war or what we go through. Not complicating it with trying to figure out why. We don't have to walk on our knees through the desert repenting for 100 miles, just truly sitting with our own pain and being kind, letting the soft animals of our bodies love what they love. Let us revisit our opening quote, that when you begin to see that your enemy is suffering, that is the beginning of insight. I wonder if we can hear it differently and hear that it says, when you begin to see that your enemy is suffering itself, and that we have the power to carry love and peace in our hearts, that is the beginning of insight. Hans said, if we are happy and peaceful, we can smile and blossom like a flower, and everyone in our entire family, our entire society, will benefit from our peace. We do overcomplicate things. How can I get someone else to be happy? How can I get them to make me stop suffering? When really the best thing you can do for them and for the world is to love and accept yourself in your present form and be present to yourself. And then, when a group of people comes together to focus on peace and compassion in their hearts, when we are together in a group who are all generating that energy of compassion and mindfulness, we all can feel it. There's a word for this in Buddhism. It's called the Sangha. And the purpose of the Sangha is to buoy everyone in all of our spiritual pursuits. Together, we practice and build compassion for ourselves and the world. And in doing so, we protect ourselves from the suffering, because we are always reminding each other to be kind and present. And in doing so, we protest the ways that we are taught to accept meanness and violence and destruction, and instead, our love radiates out and does change the world. It is truly that simple. We will now have our second meditation. I invite you to close your eyes. And we will just sit for 3 minutes. Thich Nhat Hanh tells us to allow yourself to be like that pebble at rest. The pebble is resting at the bottom of the river, and the pebble does not have to do anything. Drawing your attention to your awareness of your breathing, following the breath from the very bottom to the very top. Remembering to let the corners of your lips turn up. If it feels good, you can do a loving kindness meditation practice, centering on yourself, on the world, or on someone who you know is suffering. I invite you to remain seated while we do our closing hymn, May It Be Filled with Loving Kindness, before we finish the rest of the service. The work of the church depends on us. our generosity of time, wisdom, and financial resources. The offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared values.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us in our hearts until we are together again.
This week, I invite you to set aside just 5 minutes a day to build your meditation and compassion practice. Go in peace.